ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Oilers Live. My name is Michael, also known as Oilers Live. I got my co-host, Dash in the Park. We're going to take new and old listeners on another season of Oilers hockey. We're a little ways in, and we've got one of our favorite folks on the Heavy Hockey Network, Mr. Josh. We like to call him Tough Call Pod or Don't Know What You're Doing Pod or whatever. I don't know. We've got a million different names for you. But he's the guy that you can find him at youtube.com at it's just at Tough Call Pod, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're back. And it's we're proud to be a friend of Edmonton Sports Talk. So you can find us at edmontonsportstalk.com. Thanks to Dustin Nielsen, Matt Iwanek, Tom Gazzola, Lieutenant Eric, and the rest of the crew there. You can listen to us live at on iHeartRadio if you're in your car, or TuneIn Radio. Just search Edmonton Sports Talk. Subscribe to those guys. Lots of great shows on Edmonton Sports Talk. And, of course, on the whole Heavy Hockey Network, we've got youtube.ca/Heavy Hockey. You can listen to us on Twitter at Oilers Live, on twitch.tv at /Heavy Hockey. And then the last place I think you can find us is at facebook.com/Oilers Podcast. So if you're not listening, it's because you've purposefully gone out of your way not to listen to us tonight, because we're just about everywhere. And then top that off, anywhere you find podcasts, you'll be able to listen to the recording of this show. Tonight we are doing our season preview, because we haven't got to that yet in a long time. It's been interesting October. This is our really our first show since the regular season starts. I'm going to start with Dash. How you doing, buddy?
Hey,
Good
kids.
summer?
Do you like violence?
Yeah.
Do you want to see me stick 9-inch nails 3-inch one of my Hi. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think this is exactly what we all thought, that we just be in another start of another season and a injured superstar. Perfect. What about you, Josh?
Yeah.
Well, gee, the way the preseason was going, I didn't know if we'd have any players left to play the regular season.
Are we still not in the preseason? Wait, what? This is regular season right now? Come on, dude. This is for real right now? That
Some
last
people
game was
think
a
it will.
regular season game?
So
Wow.
I gotta laugh, because there is there's a lot of that sort of Oilers be Oilering type of talk right now. But let's be honest, outside of finishing 0-3, they're 4-2-1 in their last 7. That's not bad, right? Am I wrong? 4-2-1? Other than a 5-1 defeat to the Columbus Blue Jackets. But I gotta think that game, we'll start with that game and then we'll get into season preview, because it's it's part of the season right now. Your superstar goes down first shift of the game on a missed call. You give up, and then there's a penalty right after that, and Monahan scores. That's just the kind of night it was going to be. And I said in the Heavy Hockey group chat, look, I couldn't have asked. If anybody's going to score against the Oilers in Columbus, I'm glad it was Monahan. Right? This has been it's been an emotional season for him. Him and Johnny hated the Oilers, right? That probably felt pretty good for the guy, right? If anything, and he gets the first goal of the game, I don't think that game was ever meant to be ours. Right? That's just karma, or whatever. That's like the hockey god stepping in and saying, this doesn't need to be an Oilers win. But 4-2-1 in their last 7, it's not terrible. And they're allowed a stinker once in a while, right?
It's been a bloody roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like it always is.
But, here's the thing, right? We're going to get into the season preview. The Oilers have had 3 or 4 games like that looked really good, that the score didn't even match how well they played. Like they came out flying in Dallas. Like they deserved a better outcome.
Yep.
Right? Am I wrong? Like
Definitely
You're kind of
already.
wrong. Kind of wrong, because Dallas is the type of team that you got to throw everything at to beat.
but they threw everything at them. Like they dominated them in that first period.
Not
They
everything. They didn't win.
And the Oilers are, I mean, look at the PDO numbers. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The PDO for and against for Edmonton right now. They lead in both categories on the wrong side. On the wrong side. You know, like I mean, talk to Hyman. Right? Like, let's talk to Hyman. The guy's doing everything right.
Can't buy a goal.
Can't buy a goal. Yeah. Josh, you were going to say something.
We've already seen more intensity this year than we saw at this stage last year.
Yeah.
And I know they almost wanted it too much last year. I don't even want to explain what happened there. Again, we've rehashed that a lot. But this year, we've already seen things that are much better. There's no fear that they aren't going to turn it around at some point. Eventually, these numbers, the law of averages, have to bring it back the other way. And some of these players are going to start scoring. They have to. No one can create what they're creating and not score at the rate they're not scoring right now. So it'll be all right.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. They'll get there. It's pretty crazy right now. I mean, you know, some of the stuff they've thrown at the net, just you know, I don't. And then of course you just count disallowed goals. Like there's a lot of momentum swings in this game. Although we did get one back. Hockey gods were in our favor with Pittsburgh. We got that one back. Some stranger says Hyman's dad put away the credit card. Love that. Well done.
We missed you too,
done.
some stranger.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks to everybody who's tuning in. Both on, we got a lot of folks listening in on Twitter. Looks like on YouTube and across the Heavy Hockey Network. Quite a few listening in on Edmonton Sports Talk. There are multiple streams. Good season, good year for Edmonton Sports Talk, who's filled out a full day schedule now with some big names too, I might add. Reed Wilkins has moved over to Edmonton Sports Talk. That's pretty amazing. Hernan. Who else, Dash? You know those guys pretty well. Who else is there now? Jay Milne.
Well, Milne went. Glue guy Milne went full time. Gager went full time. YouTube Trev's got a show on Saturdays now. So yeah, they're all filling out the roster really well.
Yeah,
loving
awesome.
Loving it.
Awesome.
Reed's a great get. I mean, they got the greatest pre and post game show in the game now.
Yeah,
Reed.
Yeah, it's a really good lineup of and you know Edmonton's always been lucky enough to have a ton of great hockey folks and sportscasters and that, and you know, Edmonton Sports Talk has done a good job of giving them the crystal clear voice on digital radio.
Static free since 2023, baby.
Yeah. Of course, they had the Estes this year. We were nominated for an award as a friend of Edmonton Sports Talk. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Josh, how are things in the tough call world? I mean, you guys, you're lots of hits already this year.
I can't keep up. I can't. I need a team of people. There's no way to keep up with. I have a backlog of videos that I'm just waiting to get a voiceover done over for. There's just so many things that happen on a nightly basis, especially when they put all 32 teams on one night. That was out of control. But
during a full moon. Yeah.
That's the crazy part. I like, you know, these
that's the crazy part.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it, actually. Like what do you guys think about that? I've heard some people complain about all the teams playing on the same night.
You're a hockey fan cyborg, though. Like, you could hook hockey to your veins. Like, if you don't have skates on your feet, then you have skates on and a screen in front of you. from what I've known of you for the time I've known you. And that's
Yeah. I
great.
mean, I love
like
it. I love when they've got all the games playing, and you're not. That's not a big thing for you.
Tweaks my ADD. Like, I just give me one thing to focus on.
Oh, I love it.
Everything
Especially
else
when
is just
stagger the
noise.
starts the right way. If they get the staggered starts going, but on a Tuesday, that's what threw me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that on the weekend sometime.
Yeah.
But no, it is great. I love when they can play multiple games, the staggered starts. I loved the bubble when they were in the bubble and they had to play in the day. And it was just game after game. It was fantastic. But I guess I have the technology to watch games in the middle of the day whenever I can, and I guess that helps. But it's nice to have that much going on, but it is chaotic for the casual fan to try and figure out, right? If you have a team or a couple teams you're going to look for, then you can just flip back and forth. But it would be hard to maintain any sense of what's happening during that day as a casual fan. You're just sort of being thrown every which way at the same time. Makes it a little difficult, but
Yeah. If you do you think the and for those of you that don't know, Tough Call here, and by the way, I got your YouTube wrong. It's youtube.com/@toughcall is where you'll find Josh on YouTube, and you can check out. He's got his own system of I guess what would you call it? Like another world of Department of Player Safety. Let's put it that way, right? And so Josh has a suspension system that he uses. You call it the Tough Call system, right?
the tough. That's That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Nobody better to explain it than yourself. Why don't you explain to people that are tuning in what you do and where they can find you?
Well, I just get tired, like everyone else, of the inconsistency. And I'm one of those guys. If you feel like it can be done better, don't just cry about it. Come up with a better way to do it, and see if you can figure it out. Find a solution. So this is my solution. This is what I would do if I was the head of a Department of Player Safety in my own league. I know some of the things I say. I always qualify it with. I know some of the suspensions I give out seem way out of line with the standard that there is today. But that to me is the whole point. The whole point is to be consistent and don't be afraid to go hard on things that you want to see out of the game. And the less something is hockey related or serving a hockey purpose, more of a hockey play, the less something is a hockey play, the more I want it out of the game. And I want to see hockey players play hockey. That's the goal. And then to have a standard of consistency. So, for instance, just for example, I put out a 10-game suspension just today for St. Ivany, who hopped the bench. Sidney Crosby was in a tussle with Faber, and St. Ivany switched with Eric Carlson, and then he went right after Faber and got in a fight. I can see why he did it. He wants to defend his captain, but the rule is you can't leave the bench to join a fight. And Tampa Bay, Connor Geekie got fined for that or suspended for that in the preseason. And here we have it happen here in the regular season, and it's like that suspension in the preseason never happened. What's the point if you're not going to follow through and have that be your standard? So that's just one example.
You're suggesting there's no consistency.
a little bit, right? A little bit. I'm suggesting that maybe there's a better way to do things to encourage players to not do some of the stupid things we see on the ice that are, yes, they're entertaining and they're fun, but maybe a league that's trying to promote player safety or pretending they care about it, maybe they shouldn't allow some of these things to happen, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, all good. And again, for those of you that want to go check it out, youtube.com/@toughcall. And one of the areas I was asking, do you think that so far, I mean, we're, 8-9 games into the season for most teams. Is this a regular season? Is it getting rougher? Is it, just curious before we get into the season preview, over time, has the league trended to be less safe or more safe over the past 3-4 years?
Players are so smart. That's the problem. They find ways to get around the new standards. Every time there's a standard adjustment, they find a way to do something to get around it. There's been a lot more players ripping opponents' helmets off in scrums, for instance, I've noticed this year, and they're
Yeah.
not getting called for it like they were when that rule first came out, for example. So there's little things like that. You'll find a way to bug your opponent or annoy your opponent. You saw Matthew Tkachuk slam into the Islanders goalie, pull his stick out of his hand, whatever you want to call it, accidental. He cross checks him. The way the goalie interference is now, like if there's no goal scored, that doesn't matter. So if he cross checks him and then the puck goes in the net, that's a problem. But they're not going to call a penalty for that cross check to the goalie's shoulder the way the standards have been going. They're only going to take a goal away. So knowing that, why wouldn't you go cross check a goalie in the shoulder if the puck isn't anywhere near?
I saw the play. I think a lot of people did that are hockey fans. They saw the play. What I never went to go look to see what the outcome was. Was the goal allowed or disallowed? I mean, he was right in the crease when he tapped it in.
It was allowed.
Serious? Like, I mean, you take back that we'll talk about the Corey Perry goal, where his butt is maybe an inch into the blue paint, and that one was allowed. Really? Did you see that one, Dash?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Super weird.
Yeah,
so there's been some things, and there's been actually quite a lot of open ice hitting this year. Last year it was trending to be more than usual. Last year was a great year for open ice hitting, and this year there's been that trend to have more, but there's been a lot more scrums and fights afterwards. So it's taking away from the flow of the game to me. I would rather see a hit, you get up and you just go make another hit. But players don't seem to want that right now. So that's kind of the trend this year.
Yeah, well, let's talk Oilers hockey. I mean, the Oilers are undefeated when they've had a fighting major this year, and haven't won a game without. I mean, this might be the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They're historically, I bet you if we went back, the Oilers have always have a 750 record when there's been a fight in the game. Now, you made a good point in our group chat, which is somebody loses when there's a fight. There's a team that loses too. So, obviously this can't be just, an Oilers thing, right? Like this is but it's interesting to note. Like I remember seeing this multiple years where the Oilers had a better record when there was a fight in the game. Maybe Oilers fans got more bloodthirst than most, who knows? But anyway, undefeated with a fighting major this year. And if it were me, I would, and if I was Knobloch, I'd just send somebody out and do a little slap shot before the game, get a little bit of blood flowing, to guarantee ourselves a win.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. Like, I get why players fight. I know why we want to keep it in the game, and I know why they want to use it. And there's been many times in that group chat where I'm just like, man, the Oilers just need to grab somebody and just throttle them, just do something. And as a player, I get it. And we've seen the way, like in the games, it's not just because there's a fight. Like, it's been a well-timed fight. It's been a useful tool for the Oilers to use this year.
And that's a key. I mean, if the Oilers went out and just had a fight, it might not have the same effect. But you're right. And, they have waited until they've only fought when it mattered, so to speak, I guess.
I think
there'd be lots of people would argue it never matters, but go ahead.
Didn't you and I see the first two fights of the year live?
We did. And we saw the first win of the season.
And the first thing you said was, oh boy, Torts is going to be choked that Farabee took that fight.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. You said it immediately, and then we went on to take the game, right? Like
and Torts knows as well as anybody how that can have an ill effect against a team that's leading, right? Like, I'll never understand why somebody would take a fight, just a random fight in a game where they're ahead.
The counterpoint I heard to it that made a little bit of sense was that the team was already like whooping and hooting and hollering because Stetcher took on, at 5'10" or 5'9", took on somebody 6'5", and the Oilers already had momentum. So if Farabee could
I
come out and punch Perry's teeth out, then maybe it could.
Maybe
But
it
whatever.
could swing the other way. Yeah.
So that made a little sense, but yeah, I mean, it didn't work.
no, and you know, I do expect the Oilers to have an in-game fight and lose a game at some point this year, but so far how it sits, they certainly need to get out there and drop the gloves. It looks like in order to get a goal.
If Kane can come back earlier than expected, maybe he can just start a few fights in practice.
Yeah.
And that's
see if it
just
works
not
the same
something-
way.
That's not a stat that Michael you just noticed today. You've been tracking that since almost the very first
yeah.
fight when they won. Like,
yeah.
it's
Well, I
pretty
mean,
great.
they won that first game, and I mean, again, it the other night when they had the fight, Perry got into it, and the Oilers ended up winning that game. It looked like at one point they were going to lose that game, right? And then they came back and won. Yeah. Some stranger says a little off topic. Do they allow fights in women's hockey? Now, Josh, you watch a little bit more women's hockey than some because you have family that play. Have you seen any fights in the professional level? I mean, I've seen some skirmishes. I don't know if I've seen a fight.
I haven't seen a fight where they square off and whatever, but there's been some pretty heavy punches thrown, and I like that they're allowing. Maybe some people don't know that they allow contact in women's hockey now. It's not full blown, but the players have begged to be allowed to rub out, and if there's an open ice collision, as long as it's not like everything I talk about. As long as you're not lunging or driving your hands up or doing something where it's not hockey related, then let it go. And that's the way that it should be.
Let's be honest, it's been allowed in women's hockey for some time now. It's just not been legal, right? Like it's
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
there's been
and
some
that
solid hits.
Ends up with the inconsistency, right? Is when you allow something like that, and the NHL does it all the time. They allow things sort of on the fly that are detrimental to the rules or against the rules, I guess, and then decide to call it once in a while and not other times, right? Yeah, same type of thing.
It's pretty. I've watched quite a bit of women's hockey, and it's pretty highly frowned upon.
Yeah,
there's I mean,
great.
There's a couple of things that are considerably different about women's hockey, and one being the fact that they're wearing a full bubble cage, and the other being that it is against the rules to fight. Like it's not just you get a penalty, it's against the rules. So the referees will actually step in and break it up if it gets to be something really close. Like I remember watching a Minnesota Montreal game where there was fists a flying and cages getting smacked, and the refs just kind of came in like an MMA fight, right? Like just
welcome to hockey in the queue.
Yeah, bingo,
right?
Baby.
And
yeah,
so, Josh, this is an interesting, and we should have a discussion about this. Not tonight. We've got we're on for 90 today, and at the hour when we've got an hour left, we'll get into the season series or season preview show. The thing in the queue that I've noticed is like no fighting. Well, it's not allowed. I mean, automatic suspension, right? But they're still fighting. So they're keeping their gloves on. And actually, and Josh, I don't like it. I hate it. And I thought that I would be all right with it. But guys are being dirty in the corners. They're just keeping their gloves on. And the officials are scared to call a fight because of the ramifications of it. But as has always been the case, sort of in hockey, it's like it's not a true fight unless you drop the mitts. But these guys are fighting in the queue, and it's a little bit dirtier, and they're keeping their gloves on. I don't love it. I'm not sure what the answer is.
Big difference is they're still wearing a half visor, though.
Yeah,
right. Like I can leave my glove on and punch Josh in the face with a half visor on and still probably hurt a little bit, right? Like to get in a fight in women's hockey, you've got to take your helmet off. Really, I think ultimately,
yeah,
that's never going to happen. So it's different.
Well, they don't fight though in the queue. Like they don't drop the gloves because it's automatic suspension, right? In the OHL though, they're strict on fighting, but they allow it, right? And I'm kind of thinking, I mean, hockey being hockey, right? Like I actually prefer the OHL model where you can't, like, what they're pushing towards is not having that enforcer role, right? Like not having a guy whose sole purpose in life is to go out there and drop the mitts. And but there is something to be said about, like, being a little bit, watching behind you that some guy's going to start pounding your head if you hit the star player, right? Like I mean, guys do think about that, right? Like there are idiots out there that'll go do just about anything. And I've seen that a couple times in the queue now. I mean, as you know, I'm a season ticket holder for the Mooseheads, but it's not the same. I'm kind of, I thought I'd be more on the side of enjoying this, but I think they should maybe take a note from the OHL, or the game's got to change at the minor ranks and upwards.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
It's an automatic ejection in women's hockey too. So it's not a suspension, but it's also you're out of the game as soon as you fight. So I think that's a big deterrent too. Anyways,
that's same in the queue. Same in the queue. Automatic.
Game misconduct.
Yeah. Some stranger you got us way off topic.
We'll do that.
Yeah, and for those of you, you can if you come on to youtube.com/heavy hockey, you can join in the chat as well. Of course, we see the chat. If you're in the chat on Twitter, we'll see you there, or on Twitch, we'll see you there as well. Guys, you ready to get into some season preview stuff?
Why not?
No, but sure.
All right. So last year, I know Dash has done his tally. He wants to brag a little bit. I'll give him his chance to brag. I will say this, that I went back and watched the season preview episode of last year. Dash did have the most right, and he got the one big one right, which is, of course, the Panthers winning the cup, and that was a last second change for him in the thing last year. But as far as it all goes, it shows just how awful season predictions can be. I mean, I think we were all at about 20% accuracy. It was pretty ugly when I went through it, and
I mean, by all of us, if you mean just me, sure.
yeah, nice try. We could go through them one by one, and we'd see. You were more accurate than us, but when you consider how many predictions we made, the percentage doesn't look as high as the number that you're about to give. But
there's about
anyway,
30.
I will allow you the
34 or 35 total predictions. That's what we did last year. So
more
that's
than that if you're counting each one. So you got 13 out of.
If you count each one, then you also have to give the correct answer for each one if you're going to go through each one of the standings. So depending on which way you look at it, I either had 8 correct, while the rest of you had 3 and 4 and 3. Or if you look at it individually as placements, I had 13 correct, while you guys had 5 and 5.
So if you went 13, I think there was more than 35 if we went
that way, yes. So
and so 13 out of at least probably 40.
Yeah.
So still well under 50%.
Well, I mean,
anyway,
pretty damn good when you're predicting the placement you won in every single category and every single trophy. I think it's pretty goddamn good. So there are some pretty epic predictions, and I might have made a few clips. Hang on.
I'm going back. I'm changing my East Championship pick.
Carolina. I just can't do it. I said the analytics thing, and then I just convinced myself. I'm going back to Florida. It's the team I wrote down first. And fuck you guys, I really hate to say this. The Florida Panthers are going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
All right.
I'm going back.
There you go.
So that's a pretty good one right there. Oh, hey, hang on.
We know who to blame.
Yeah,
for
that's
what
right. It's my
happened. Who
fault.
gave the bad mojo for the Edmonton Oilers last year?
Yeah, it's my fault. It is. Hang on. Here's a good one, too.
Because Matthews gets my Rocket Richard winner. I completely agree with Michael in saying that the Oilers just don't care anymore. I think they're more than happy if 4 guys get 50 instead of 2 guys getting 60. I wouldn't be upset if Draisaitl got 65, and I think he's your 66 Lotzie, and I think he's got the capability to do it. I just hope they have a better commitment to defense and a better commitment to team, and as a result, they both end up in the 50s, which is just fine by me. Matthews gets his ego in the way and goes back after, and Matthews maybe even approaches 70 this year.
Oh, bam. Oh, bam. The Oracle.
You also just let the world know that one of the key phrases in that was, "I totally agree with you, Michael."
I know. I heard it too.
Well, he had said that, Connor got his Richard, Dry got his Richard. Let's just go get out and win. And that's the part I agreed with. So, yeah. And, I just might add that that's my 3rd straight prediction championship. And I will enjoy.
We've done it 3.
Yeah. And I will enjoy my 4-peat this time. On with the
Right
show.
on. Right on. All right. So we're gonna get into this. We've got just under an hour to get this done. How we're gonna do it, Josh? It was Lottie and Eric that joined us last year. With Eric with his flowing locks. Yeah, you got that going on for sure.
Yeah. Eric, right after I made that Panthers prediction, Eric said, "Well, that would mean Tkachuk would have to beat McDavid in a Stanley Cup, and we know that would never happen."
Right
so
on.
he also added to the jinx. Right just saying.
All right. Well, we're gonna go. We'll do Eastern. We're gonna do placements, Western placements, playoff placements, trophies, and then some Oilers predictions. We're going to rush through these tonight, but, a little bit of commentary here and there, more for the record type of stuff. And so in front of you, make sure you've got all the current standings. We're a little bit through part of the season this year, but you know what? I mean, every year is a little bit different. This, I think, be interesting. We're going to start. I'm going to start with you, Dash. We're going to start in the Eastern Conference. We're going to start by division, and we'll name the top 3, and then the wild card. I think for the sake of time, why don't we do just do your full Eastern, right? So in other words, give me the Atlantic and the Metro, and then give me your 2 wild card teams. Josh, you can go, and then I can go, and then we'll follow it up. Somebody will go first and last. We'll change it up as we go, just so it's always easier to get the last word, right?
You want me to go first on this one?
We're going to start. Yeah, you start on this one. We'll start with Atlantic.
Okay, Eastern Division predictions. The Atlantic Division, I like, it's recency bias maybe there, and the fact that the same 3 teams kind of keep ending up at the top of that division. So for me, I think it kind of stays the same as it's always been, but I think the Bruins fall out. So I think the Panthers, the Maple Leafs, and I hate to say it, but I like the Sabres' chances of squeaking in. Maybe that's a wild card, though. Panthers, Lightning, Maple Leafs, Metro. I'll go, you know what? I think it's the typical. I'll take the Islanders out and put them in the wild card. So I'll go Devils, Rangers, Hurricanes. So I guess that makes my wild cards Islanders. I think the Sabres take it.
Sabres and Islanders and Sabres. I don't think that really matters one way or the other. To be honest, they're usually so damn close on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dash for the Eastern in the Atlantic. He's got Florida finishing first, Lightning finishing second, Maple Leafs third. In the Metro, Devils, Rangers, then Hurricanes. In the wild card, the Islanders and Sabres.
Technically, I was just giving top 3. I didn't know I was giving them in order. But
Oh,
'Cause
well,
we're either right or we're wrong in the top 3, right? That's how we did it.
okay. All right. You ready, Josh?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I'm
I'd
ready.
put Rangers
I mean,
there.
you're on the record here now, Josh. This is
I
the
know. I
real
haven't taken
deal
part
here.
in one of these before. This is
Yeah.
apparently
Oh,
there's
is this
not a
your
lot of
first
pressure.
one?
You guys are miserable at it.
Shit's
Really?
official. Go grab your magnets.
Yeah, right. So in the Atlantic, I have Florida winning it, but I have Toronto second and Tampa third. In the Metro, I have the Rangers up top, the Devils, and the Hurricanes in my top 3. And then for my wild card, Washington and Detroit are my wild card teams.
Washington and Detroit. Interesting.
If you want to put mine in order, that I would have them the same as Josh, to be honest.
Florida, so the Maple Leafs and then
Yeah.
the Lightning?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then same Rangers, Devils, and then the Hurricanes.
Rangers, Devils, Hurricanes. All right. All right. All right. So, Atlantic. Florida's really looking good to start. That one's an easy one, I think. We'll see. Yeah, definitely. I've got. I can't do that if you guys got. Yeah, jeez. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay sitting in second, and then Toronto sitting in third. And then for the Metro, yeah, I kind of think when it all fleshes out, yeah, Rangers, Devils. I'm gonna go with the Islanders sitting in that third spot, and then for the wild card, I actually think the Bruins are coming back. It's too early for me.
I
to count
debated
them
that
out.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then this one is a little bit harder for me. I mean, I don't think the Caps have it like to stay. I know you got them in the wild card. I really want to say Buffalo because I really want them to get into the playoffs. I'm a closet Buffalo fan. I kind of think Ottawa is going to get it going this year. I just feel like this is their year, and they've got they've got the right pieces in place. If they can put some, they've started the season out just kind of mediocre, but I think that they can do it. So I'm going to put Ottawa in that wild card spot.
They've got their pieces in place like the 10-11 Oilers. They've got their Cogliano, Gagne, and now they got Gordon.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a
joke. Look. If they go on. I say this: if they were to, I mean, Giroux, right? Like, Batherson, like that's not a bad second line, right? Like,
it's not a good.
If they made the wild card, would you be surprised?
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they've got the right pieces in place.
I think we're going to find out what kind of a goalie. Yeah, I don't
mean,
know.
Everything comes down to goaltending. Let's be honest. A lot of times, right? If if Allmark or Forsberg aren't, tip top, then
I just think Allmark's going to show his true colors. I think Shabbat and Sanderson are still pretty young to be having a team on their shoulders. I love Kachuk. I love Stutzel, but it kind of stops and ends there for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, Batherson's pretty damn good. Giroux's maybe one of the most underrated players of the last 10, 12, years.
From 12 to 8 years ago, sure.
Yeah,
but
the last 4,
you
not
guys
so
have
much.
been good for some time, right? Give me a reason to believe. I haven't seen that yet. I don't have any reason to believe.
But believe Washington needs to give you a reason to believe. They're
They won a cup and
they're
they
a
made the
middling team,
playoffs at least.
right?
Like,
Yeah,
give
but
us
they're
all
not
that.
that's a long time ago now, right?
Oh, you're talking about Giroux 12 years ago.
Yeah,
But
no,
the
I know.
but the
Same,
cup, but
same
Ovi's
sort
cup
of thing,
doesn't
right?
count.
Same
Come
sort of
on.
thing, I mean, what on Washington?
So what you're
really-
saying is the Washington Capitals are the Claude Giroux of the NHL.
like you think PLD is the guy that's taken Washington to the playoffs? Like
Tough
we
call
saw
said
what
it, not
happened
me.
last year,
Tough
right?
call said it, not me.
No, I don't care much for PLD. I don't know why people put so much faith in him, to be honest.
Yeah.
But those guys just know how to win. Like they've been around a lot. They're just, you know what? Let's just
But
have
they
a
didn't
year.
last year, right?
No, they didn't.
No.
But you can't do that every year. They're
Yeah.
just going to say, let's have a year. Let's just do it. Let's get Ovi his record. Tom Wilson's got 5 goals already. Like,
Yeah, but that's drying up soon.
let's just
right?
make it happen.
Yeah. That's drying up soon. That's not sticking around. All right. That's good. That's good commentary on the West. Some stranger agrees Giroux's over the hill with you guys. All right. Let's talk Western Conference. Same thing. Give us the top. I'll start in this one. This one's a little bit harder given the start that we've seen so far. I'm going to say in the Central. I'm going to go with Dallas, Winnipeg, and then I'm going to go Minnesota.
Wow.
Which are the top 3 right now. If you'd asked me before the season started how I looked at this, it would be completely different than it is now. But those are the Central might be the hardest division to say in hockey what's going to happen, right? Because and we'll talk about that. In the Pacific, I'm going to go Vegas, number 1 in the Pacific. And then I kind of think the Canucks are going to pull out second, and then I'll go Edmonton in third. And then for my wild card spots, I'm going to take Colorado, who I think will start to put things in place. I mean, they're doing what Edmonton's doing, but they're scoring goals. That's the biggest difference. And then from a this one's the hard part for me, but I kind of feel like just based on, and this is just sheer luck. Who knows? Because the wild card to me in the West is going to be like a point between 5 or 6 different teams. Like it'll be Seattle, Utah, St. Louis, and Nashville. I think all fighting for that. And possibly even Calgary, although I think they're gonna
Dash.
I think they're coming back. Like I think they're seeing reality now. They're losing 5-1 just right now to Utah, so they're starting to see reality. So I'm going to go with Utah, just because those guys. This is not an expansion team; it's just a new area, and those guys got something to prove. So I'm going to say Utah takes that last one. All right, Josh, you're up.
Jeez. I gotta say, I'm pretty similar. Vegas, Vancouver, Edmonton, 1, 2, 3. Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota, 1, 2, 3. And I was having the same conversation with you about the wild cards. So I'm going Colorado is going to stay in. And I was picking between the same 4 teams you were, but I'm going to take Nashville as my 8th spot.
Yeah. So Colorado and then Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Nashville, obviously they didn't get the start they wanted, but it's quite likely, right? Dash?
Well. This becomes the year the Central Division takes over, I guess, right? We were not that far removed from talking about the Pacific Division being the best division in hockey. And and then all of a sudden the Ducks and the Sharks and the Flames became what they are. If you think the Flames are going to make the wild card, I got a lot in Florida I'd like to sell you. That team's trying to tank. They will tank eventually. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, that Central Division looks good in those wild card spots, doesn't it? If the Oilers don't make third in their division, they might be a wild card. I'd like to throw that out there right now. I just feel like the year is the year of bad luck, and I'm not just saying it after McDavid got hurt, because I said the exact same thing when we sat on the Hangout, Michael, when we did that show together. I just said they're due for some bad luck. We all knocked on wood, and here we are. Okay. I think the Stars are the cream of the crop in the NHL. I'm going to definitely take them for the President's Trophy. I'll take them for the Central Division. The Jets are looking great where they are. Colorado, man, like I got a really good buddy that's an Avs fan, and like it seems like we kind of talk about a lot of the same things, like just this kind of goaltending that's a little shaky sometimes, plays as well as their team does, defense not deep enough, riding the coattails of superstars. That said, their superstars will get them in. So I'm going to give that third spot to the Avalanche. So moving down to the Pacific, that I picked, looking at last year, I picked Vegas to win the Pacific. I fully expect them to do it again. That said, that second to third spot in the Pacific is really kind of interesting, isn't it? I don't think the Kings keep doing what they're doing. I think the Canucks probably have a good enough team to stay up there. So I'm going to go Knights, Canucks, Oilers, I guess, just like you guys did. And then for my wild cards, I got Minnesota and Utah.
All right. So really not much difference between all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And now we're going to do a little bit of league playoffs and President's Trophy. So we're going to do in this order. I guess it's your turn to start, Dash. We're going to do first coach fired, Eastern Conference playoff champions, Western Conference playoff champions, Stanley Cup champs, and President's Trophy. Let's maybe start with first coach fired and President's Trophy, and then do the playoffs. So Eastern, Western Conference, and then Stanley Cup champions.
Oh boy. Let's go with, well, I already said Dallas, I believe, is going to be the President's Trophy. I just think the way they're built, it just makes a ton of sense to me. They're strong up the middle, great on D, nothing but depth up front. And I was going to save this for my stretch prediction, but yeah, no, I'm going to throw it out now.
First coach fired, though, we need
Chuck Knobloch.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Knobloch. Chris Knobloch. I mean it.
Okay. All right.
The pressure stays on. They're not making the playoffs. Quinville's in the gates.
It's the first year I'd never see it happening.
Yep.
I mean, it would have
That's
to
what
be
we say.
like,
and won't that be the story when it happens?
Yeah. I mean, every other year I totally could see it happening, but like even Woodcroft I could see happening, but this one, they're just not, it's not the same. Anyway, keep going. So Western Conference champs, Eastern Conference champs.
I'm doing those right now too.
Yeah.
Western Conference champs, Dallas Stars. Eastern Conference champs, New York Rangers.
Stanley Cup.
Dallas Stars champions.
Dallas Stars. All right.
And I've been saying that since the preseason.
Yep. Yeah. Josh.
First coach fired, Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, that was my pick. That I honestly just about said that, and then I'm like, screw it, I'll go with. So that is, give me a caveat for Sullivan, but that's exactly who I would have picked.
It's just he's been there a long time. Coaches have a shelf life. They've done everything else in Pittsburgh. got to fire the coach at some point.
I think I picked Sullivan last year too, to be honest.
Well, he's been due, right?
Yeah, honestly.
You picked DJ Smith last year.
Oh, did I? Oh, that would have made a ton of sense. That happened. Just a little later.
Yeah. All right. And President's Trophy.
President, I hate to agree with Dash so much. I find myself doing that a lot.
Yeah,
Dallas
we do, don't we?
Dallas just it's just I can't not like you have to like them. I don't want to. I really enjoyed the game that the first regular season game between the Oilers and the Stars. It was just really good hockey. The playoff series they had last year was just really fun to watch, really entertaining, good hockey, and I want to see that again. I think Dallas will do that to a lot of teams regularly. So I think they're going to be the President's Trophy winners. Just to be like, I was trying to decide between Florida and the Rangers in the East for champions, and I'll say Florida just because Dash said the Rangers. I think it'll be that close. It'll come down to the last couple days. They'll be neck and neck, and it's basically like whoever just wants it at the end of whoever doesn't rest their players and gets those last couple of points will get it. So
I agree.
I go with Florida. And then I still believe that the right people eventually win their Stanley Cup. I can see why people would think Dallas would, but I feel whoever wins that series will be the Stanley Cup champion this year. But I'm going to have to say the Edmonton Oilers again. My Stanley Cup champion.
All right. And Stanley Cup?
The Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers this year.
He was only listening with one ear.
Apparently.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I sorry. I got the Western and I didn't. I heard the. I didn't hear the other thing. All right.
The only thing I'd say about that is you said that everybody gets their cup when it's due, and I really strongly, you know, who's due for a cup again is Jim Nill. I think he's the best GM in the NHL, and what he just continues to do year after year after year after year.
Yeah. I mean,
Ben
you've been talking
Dallas.
Dallas was, it's pretty good. We with the one thing we've never done is, did we do GM of the year in the trophies? Well, we'll have a look, but yeah. All right. So first coach fired. I'm going to go out on a limb. It doesn't really, which I've done before, and but if in the East, I think if it doesn't change and the Hurricanes continue to sort of be mediocre, I think it's time for Brind'Amour to get through. I just, you know what? I mean, the biggest challenge with them is they'd never pay anybody enough money to go and coach there. So, but I would love to see Carolina change that. They haven't got anywhere. Like they're always the also Rans, right? Like
I didn't think you were going to go on a bigger limb than me. I'm like, I picked Chris Knobloch for crying out loud.
Oh, there's no bigger limb than Chris Knobloch. There's no.
Well, I don't know, man. If there is, it might be Brind'Amour,
dude. If Knobloch gets fired first, then I will gladly do a whole show where all I do is refer to you as the Oracle. No. President's Trophy.
Clip that.
I'm surprised you pick Dallas to do the President's Trophy, and you'd pick them also to win the cup.
Because of the curse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a curse or if it's just damn hard.
I'm way more confident about them winning the cup than winning the President's Trophy. Like that could easily be
like it's damn hard to
Rangers
do both,
or
right?
Yeah,
like that's why they don't win, because you
Toronto
can only
could win it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, Toronto could. Yeah,
and then lose in the first round. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. I just that to me is like it's not, to me it's not so much of a curse as it's just it's a hard thing to do both, right?
Yeah.
Like to go and win as many games as it takes to win the President's Trophy during the season, and then come out and win the playoffs.
I mean,
I'm going to go with Vegas.
the linear connection there is like, I think you need to face adversity to win a cup. And if you win
Yeah.
the President's Trophy, you probably had a pretty seamless season, right? So,
Yeah.
anyways, sorry to keep interrupting you. That's also my ADD.
All good, all good. I'm going to go with Vegas on the President's Trophy. I would be tempted to say, like if there was a team that from a stretch that I think could win it, just because of the way they've started, is Winnipeg. Hellebuck, if they win it, it'd be on the, Hellebuck will have a lot to do with that.
You said the exact same thing last year when you predicted Hellebuck to win the Vezina.
Yeah. I mean, he's looking that much better this year, right? Like, so far, anyway. We'll see what happens. Still early in the season, but 9-1 is not a bad way to start a season. From the Eastern standpoint, winning the Eastern Conference, I'm with you, Josh. I like. Florida looks good, though the Rangers also look pretty good. I like to be a little bit different because, then we got something to talk about. Oh, geez. Although it's hard to – I think it's going to be hard for to come out of the East, but I'm going to go back with Florida again. And I hate to say that. In the Western side, right now, I mean, if I say the Oilers, it's purely with my heart, right? Like there's nothing about the way this season has started that would lead me to believe that the Oilers are going to come out of the West. Do I think they're capable? Yeah. I mean, they have to just get into the playoffs. And then you need a healthy McDavid and a healthy Draisaitl, and you need some other pieces. The way the team is now, though, I can't look at them and say I think that they're gonna go all the way. But shit, I think I've called Edmonton every season that we've done this. Yeah. This is a tough one. The problem is the Western to me is this is why I'd never bet on it, because I always want to bet with my heart. Like I might say, like, I think Vegas has a really good team this year, right? Like I think they've got something going there that looks good. They're kind of back to where they were a couple seasons ago, and they look really strong. But do I want to see Vegas in another Cup final? And do I want to pick who's going to win between Florida and Vegas? No, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's a little bit different. And then for the Cup, I hate to say it again, but I'll take Florida for the Cup this year, back-to-back Cups. Blah. And that honestly was that's not going with predictions from the heart there. That's maybe the first time ever. And I hope 100% that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. And in fact, I couldn't want to be more wrong than I'm right. Because that would make me sick. Like, I'm not even sure I'd want to watch a Florida Vegas Stanley Cup final.
I would not watch that.
Yeah.
Would not.
Oh. I don't want to think about it. All right. We're going into trophies. So we started. Last one was Dash, then you, Josh, and then. Did I go last again? Oh, look at that! Hey, I got to
Looks
go.
like
last
you're first,
again.
buddy.
I guess I'm first on trophies. All right. So we've got the Hart. Art Ross, Lindsay, Richard, Bing, Vezina, Calder, Norris, Adams, and Selke. Okay, let me see here. So Hart.
Great preparation.
Oh, Hart Trophy. This is got a hard one, and Okay, I need to think about that one. Art Ross. I'm gonna go. I think just missing a couple weeks will be enough to. It's too close now. But if I had to guess on the Art Ross, you know what? I might take Kucherov, which would be crazy, wouldn't it? I mean, yeah. Lindsay, I'm gonna take.
Well, make your hard pick, and there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it. This.
Like how you said, we were going to just move through this quickly.
Agree. Maybe a Hart. I'm going to take Stone for the Hart.
What?
Well, you know what? I mean, this is the year that if I'm.
Oh yeah, he'll play 80 games for sure. Oh yeah.
Right. Like if. You know, this is the year. If he's going to win it, that's got to be it. For the Lindsay, though, I don't think the players would say Stone. I mean, I wouldn't actually be surprised if McDavid wins the Lindsay. I'm going to go with McDavid for the Lindsay, right? We've got for the Richard. I'm going to take Panarin for the Richard.
Red man.
Yeah. I don't think I think Matthews will have a good season. I just don't think he's going to come back and although he scores in streaks, you never know. He could score 60 in a weekend. Bing.
Just ask him
last year. Yeah.
I'm with some stranger. These are fantastic predictions if we're in a contest. Keep it up. I'm glad you took so much time to come up with these.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I haven't thought about the trophies yet. So
clearly,
yeah. You got them all down. Of course, you got time now to.
Well, I wouldn't have picked those.
Adams, let's go Cassidy, because we're going with this thing on the with Vegas. What else do we got? Norris, go with Makar. Vezina, I'm going to go back with Hellebuck again. Did I do Hellebuck last year? Yeah.
Yep.
Hellebuck this year again. We'll see. Maybe that's the curse. And what else am I missing here? Selke. Jeez. Marner. I mean, he's actually started off well. Yeah, you know what? Maybe Marner for the Selke. What am I missing? Calder, Vezina, the Bing. I hate the Bing. I don't even want to the Bing. Let's go. I don't even know who to go with on this.
Well, if you don't know, then just pick Slavin again and move on.
Yeah, I picked Hughes last year. I'll pick Hughes again.
Yeah. Jack, just to be
yeah
clear.
All right, I think that's good.
Who did you pick for Calder?
For what? Oh,
Calder?
for Calder. Oh shit. I mean, I would have picked Celebrini if he wasn't injured.
I wouldn't have.
Oh, he's good. He's really good.
No, I've had my eye and heart on one and one only.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't know who it is, but
Jeez.
I promise I'll be faster than this, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, but you go next because I got a couple to think about.
Okay.
Do you? Yeah. Yeah. He's got. Let me think about the Calder. I'll get back to it. Yeah, just for sake of time. Go ahead, Dash.
Wants to copy our answers. All right. I will say
I'll say it before you say the Calder.
yeah.
How's
All
that?
right. Hart Trophy. Pride of Cole Harbor is coming back for it again. I think actually McKinnon's going to go back to back. So give him the Lindsay as well. The Norris, jeepers, it's so hard to go away from the Avs on this one after the start Makar has had. But he might have been a guy's pick anyways, right? So I'll hedge and say Makar. Calder Trophy. I've got him in both of my fantasy keeper leagues. I was absolutely thrilled when I stole him late, and we watched him live together, Michael.
Luchenko.
Michkov.
Oh, Michkov, yeah.
And I think he's a special player and is actually going to dominate the Calder Trophy. Last year I said it'd be close. This year I do not think it will be.
I didn't even think about
Vezina.
Michkov.
Yeah, Vezina. Oh yeah, so he's going to copy us, Josh, just like I said.
Hardly copied on anything here.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, well,
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Stone, good one. Okay, Vezina will be Ottinger. You don't get to the President's Trophy without the backs of a goalie like that. Selke, I actually also had Marner in that spot. Same pick as last year, the Eastern biased guy like that gets points every year is going to get a trophy eventually. Lady Bing, this might be off the charts a little bit, but I think he's been considered for it before. I don't know if he's won it before. I'd have to go back and look, but given the bump in ice time he may or may not be getting, given the looks he may or not be getting increasing on the power play, I like Jeff Skinner's chance to kind of get a career year and a career high in points, and why not give him a Lady Bing at the same time? What are you laughing at?
I can't see that. Not.
Oh.
I'd
I
be
mean, you couldn't
surprised.
even pick and didn't want to, so good for you.
No.
Although
It
Hughes
wouldn't have
pretty
been
good,
Jeff Skinner.
although Hughes is a pretty good pick. The Jack Adams, I may want to go. What's the Jets' new? Oh, Arneal. Let's do that. Maurice Richard. I'm going to go with Kucherov. Art Ross will be McKinnon, if I didn't say that already.
Yeah.
Is that it?
You got Vezina, Adams, Richard, Lindsay, Hart, Calder was Michkov.
I think that's all of them. Jennings, Hellebuck, General Manager of the Year, Jim Neal. Clean sweep right there.
Okay.
You'll notice I didn't mention Mark Stone.
Well, you did say Jeff Skinner for for the big, so I'd be surprised if he even makes a ballot.
We'll see.
All right, Josh, you're up.
Let's see. So, what do I need? I need the Hart. I'm gonna go with Makar for the Hart.
For the heart,
be
yeah,
honest.
awesome.
I'm gonna give. I had Panarin down for the Art Ross because I thought he would also win the Richard. So I have him.
Oh, you
winning
missed
both.
Art Ross, Josh or Dash.
No, I think I said. Oh, you know what? I think I said McKinnon
For Hart
But
and
I-
Lindsay, and then you
for
didn't
Hart
say
and
it.
Lindsay. Oh, okay. Same as Josh is like the Richard winner will also win the Art Ross. So Kucherov.
Kucherov. Okay.
Okay.
And sorry to you got
No worries.
Who did you
By
have?
all
You
means.
have Art Ross as Panarin?
Panarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
not
going to
gonna
give
be Malkin?
McKinnon.
Not going to be Malkin?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Bread and milk
Started
don't
out
mix.
on fire, hey, didn't he?
Lindsay, to Ted Lindsay, I'm going to give to McKinnon.
Okay.
I think Heiskanen will win the Norris.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't
Um,
disagree with you, but he's got ways to go.
I think I had for my Calder, I had Logan Stankoven.
Just giving the Stars
yeah.
all the trophies.
Yeah.
All of us, I mean.
yeah. For the Jack Adams, I had Paul Maurice written down. I don't know if I'm happy about that, but
I think Paul Maurice is the best coach in the NHL. I just don't know. I don't think he wins the Adams. I think
that's just it. I don't know if he'll get that acknowledgement, really.
Agreed.
But he's the first name that popped into my head when I thought of coaches, and I haven't really got around to looking at that one again yet to tweak it. So I'm just going to go with it.
I just think the Jets are such a gift for Arneal there. Like they'll be a 110-point team, and
it's hard. It's hard not to give it to him. I agree. Yeah. It would be hard if that's the way the things end up. I mean, yeah.
I don't think I gave a Jet a trophy. Okay, give my lady being Kyle Connor. I'll change it since you're chirping me.
No, yeah, I'm keeping Jeff Skinner on my list, but I'll put Kyle Connor on there.
Kyle Connor, clip it.
Oh
man.
My prediction is it will be a redhead that wins the Lady Bing.
Yeah.
Ginger. Just change it to Ginger.
Who are we what am I missing? So I need a Selkie. Bing. What else?
Selkie.
Lady Bing.
Yeah.
I could not come up with a Selkie. I couldn't.
We both have Marner, I think, for the Selkie.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to get something, right? He's got to.
Yeah. He's a safe choice you put on because he has to get an award at some point. So, yeah. I mean, why not? Maybe I'll give him the Lady Bing. Why not?
There you go. All right. Well, I mean, it's not awful.
Tough call. Tough call should get out an annual Tough Call Lady Bing every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah.
And then the opposite of it, like Tough Call's Dirty Prick.
Oh,
it's a long list.
I have a few of those.
Trouba.
Trouba, Bennett. Now, so I need a Selkie. What else do I need besides a Selkie?
You got Maurice for the Adams, Bing, Selkie. I think you got. Oh, who's your Vezina?
Oh, Vezina is Hellebuck all the way for me. I couldn't agree more with that. Like he's just gonna have a year.
Yeah,
he's the best goalie in the NHL, and he's gonna.
You got who did you get for Richard? Was it Panarin as well?
Panarin's my Richard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Vezina comes out of the Central.
Okay, and then the only one you're missing is the Selkie.
So give it to Scheifele.
All right. Look at somebody's secretly cheering for the Jets this year.
We both picked the Jet.
Oh, that's Selkie. I wrote that down as Bing. All right, we're good there. All right.
That's Selkie. Right. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's trophies. Now we're going to finish off. How much time we got left? We got 15 minutes. It's perfect. We're right on here. We're gonna go. Well, last year we went 150 points over under for McDavid. Oilers 20 goal scorers.
Which I was right on.
Yeah. I think we need to change Oilers 20 goal scorers, Oilers 50 goal scorers. Bouchard 65 over under. And then I think we'll have to do boldest prediction. I don't have. Last year we had some like whether Connor Brown would finish in the top 6 forwards, which I was right on. Breakout.
We all
season.
said yes.
No, I said we'll know early. I said we'll know early,
and then your official pick was
we'll know early.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. We knew early that he wasn't going to be finishing in the top 6.
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah. All right. I think, and then boldest Oilers prediction. Anything like, I guess we could probably do something with some of the new Oilers in terms of, like, will they get certain point levels or otherwise? But we can put that into boldest predictions. So maybe what we'll do McDavid points, Oilers 50 goal scorers, Oilers 20 goal scorers, and then let's do 3 bold predictions plus a breakout season. Okay. Does that work for you guys?
Yep.
Okay. So Oilers 50 goal scorers, Oilers 20 goal scorers, 3 bold predictions. What was the last thing that I just said? And then a breakout season. Who's going to have a breakout season? That should take us to time. All right, who wants to start?
Josh's turn.
Josh. All right. So, and Connor McDavid over under. I think we're gonna amend that to 130 points, given that he's injured right now. So Connor McDavid over under 130 points.
Okay.
And then Oilers 50 goal scorers. How many 50 goal scorers? How many 20 goal scorers? 3 bold predictions and breakout season. First off, Connor McDavid, 130 points, over or under?
Under.
Okay. And then how many Oilers 50 goal scorers?
50 goal seasons. That's tough. I can't see more than one.
Okay.
Probably just Leon.
Yeah.
20 though. I probably have 5.
Okay.
I would say Arvidsson, Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Nuge. 20 goal scorers.
If not Nuge, Boosh.
5. Okay. And then 3 bold predictions.
Maybe Boosh. I might add Bouchard into that, maybe 6, but 3 bold predictions. I don't know. Well, I don't think their coach is getting fired. So that's one. But
yeah. I mean, it's bold to say they'll make it a full season with a coach.
It is bold. Yeah.
Is that your bold prediction? The Oilers will actually get through a full season with a coach?
That could be one of my bold predictions. I like that. Oh man. I think as a bold prediction, there's gonna be a permanent change to their power play top 5. I don't know what that change is going to be just yet, but I really feel like there's going to be some sort of shake up there, and it's going to stay.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if it's a combination of a breakout season or a bold prediction, but I feel like this team is going to take is going to go where Ekholm takes us this year. I just feel like he's going to do something to just cement his name on this hockey team. And he's going to be a person that we're going to be talking about more than other superstars that we would normally talk about. And perhaps he's the shakeup I'm talking about. I don't know. But
Some stranger says Ekholm for 20 goals.
Okay, there you go.
That could be huge. Yeah. All right. And last bold prediction. You could have that as your breakout season as well if you want. Like Ekholm as your breakout season.
I think Ekholm as my breakout season is my bold prediction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. You can have both. Okay. And then, but one more bold prediction. Do you have one, or you need some time to think about it?
I guess I don't really have another one at the moment. I would have to think about that. Yeah.
Okay. Dash, you ready, or you want me to go? I can go.
Sure, go.
Yeah. I've got Connor McDavid even at 130.
Okay.
I think he's going to turn it up when he gets back. Anytime he comes back, you know, I mean, we've seen it. He just comes with the tear. 50 goal scorers. I'm going to go out on a limb and say nobody scores 50 in the Oilers lineup.
I don't think.
But I will say we go 6 20 goal scorers. And then bold prediction. I think we see, whether you think this is bold or not, I think we'll see Picard play 35 games this year. I think that I probably wouldn't have said it until some stranger said Ekholm with 20 in the but you know what, that's a great bold prediction, like Ekholm with a 20 goal season. I think that's entirely doable. I also think from a breakout perspective, this one's, I mean, it's hard to say because the challenge that we have is a lot of these guys had breakout seasons last year. So I'm going to go with breakout season with I'm just going to go off the board and say Noah Philp. And I think like he's going to show really well over the next couple weeks. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some good play. Now, a breakout season for a guy like Philp could be 10 points, right? Like, so it's, you know, but I just think that I think he's in a good position to be kind of the guy that we talk about at the end of the season that we're all surprised about. That's come out of nowhere. And I mean, he had a great preseason. I love the way he plays. He was like a boss with the U of A. Like I watched him in Acadia when the U of A made it to the final. He was noticeable every single play he was on the ice. He's had a year off to sort of think about things. I really think he's due, and I think he's 26, so he's no kid anymore. Like he's capable of getting out there and playing. And then my last bold prediction. You know, I'm with you, Josh. It's hard to think of 3. I don't know. I'm going to need a minute on that one as well. Sadly, I think probably my biggest bold prediction might be that Nuge's point production drops by 50%. I think his point days are behind him in terms of this season anyway. So, and I think that's a bold prediction. Like 50% drop in points is huge. right? So it's the opposite of a
Especially
breakout
since he just
season.
had a 40% drop in points before.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I don't think that's not to say I think Nuge's team, like his commitment to the team or his ability to help the team is going away. Like I think he'll just do other things. I just think from a points perspective, he's not going to have as many points, and it's going to keep going down.
Yeah.
Some stranger says no one mentioned Brown. I thought about Brown, but I can't think of anything. Last year, he was all the talk about whether or not, whether he was going to score 50 goals or not, and he never did. So, all right, Dash, you're up. Last one, Connor McDavid, 130 points, over under.
I just want to go back to your Nuge thing here. So he went down like 35% in points. He's at 67 last year. So you think he's going to get 30?
I think he'll probably
3
get
points or less.
40 points.
Well, then that's not what you said.
Yeah. Roughly 50.
Then your prediction's a 40% decrease in points.
Okay, 40%.
Stop talking out of both sides of your ears.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a bold prediction for sure. There's no way. Unless the only way that happens is if Josh's bold prediction comes true and they
Skinner
make a major
wins the
change
bang.
in the power play.
Skinner win the bang and Nuge.
That was my bold prediction, not Josh's. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Josh's bold prediction of the playoff having a major change in it. And if that major change is Nuge being pulled out of it, which is crazy because the power play flows through Nuge. But anyway,
hasn't this year.
All right. Okay. In listening to last year's prediction show to tally the results, I was quoted as saying, I will never, ever in my entire life as a predictor ever bet against Connor McDavid in a points question. And I'm going to bet against Connor McDavid in a points question. You set the bar too high, man. There's only 3 guys in the NHL that are even capable of getting over 130 points. And McDavid has a high ankle sprain or a knee or anything that lingers whatsoever this year. I'd set that over under at maybe 100 points. And if Connor McDavid gets 100 points this year, I think we should all consider ourselves lucky. So under. What's the next question? Sorry.
Oilers 50 goal scorers.
None.
Okay. 20 goal scorers.
5.
Okay.
I don't want to list them because I don't want to jinx anybody, because I think for that to happen, somebody's got to get hurt. I think McDavid, Draisaitl, I think Hyman's obviously going to scrape in there. Yeah, I think the other 3 are kind of up there. Depends. Could be Ekholm, could be Nuge, could be Bouchard. I think they'll all float right around there. So yeah, 5. Breakout Oiler, is that the next one?
Or 3 bold predictions, but breakout Oiler, it's breakout season.
I'd say it's kind of set up for Ty Emberson to do so. That said, can you give a breakout performance of the year to a guy that's going to probably play bottom 3D or bottom 6D? Probably not. Might have been Holloway's year. I'd say it's whoever replaces whoever leaves the power play. Can I just say it's that? If it's Skinner, if it's whatever, that's probably who. But if I'm forced to say a name, I'm going to go with Podkolzin. I think he's kind of got the biggest upside based on what he's done in the past. And, he's going to get it dabbled into the top 6. And, just like you said, Michael, with Connor Brown, we'll know early if he's going to stay there or not. Duh.
Yeah. Well, you had Connor Brown as the breakout season last year.
No, did I?
Yeah, it was a breakout. We were just hoping he broke.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. That's pretty awful.
All right.
Hey,
3 bold predictions.
Here's was Holloway. How did that end up?
Yeah.
Bold predictions. All right. Bold prediction. Draisaitl wins the Rocket Richard. I think with Connor out, there's been this. I think he won the Richard and the Hart the last time Connor got injured badly. I think he saw the same pattern when Sid the Kid used to get hurt, and then Malkin would have to pick it up. He'd win the Hart instead. So, who knows? Maybe it's something like that. Bold prediction number 1 was already said, I guess, which was Chris Knobloch getting fired.
Yeah.
I'll go as far as to say Quenneville's the replacement. And my final bold prediction is that Olivier Rodrigue plays at least 10 games this year.
10 games.
Double digits.
Oh, I think it'd be bold if he plays 1. We'll see. I'll give you 1 game. If he plays 1 game, that's pretty bold. Yeah. So we'll see. Although, I mean, nobody would be against seeing him play, I'm sure, but somebody's got to get hurt for that to happen, I think. So,
well, I could scale that back and say one of our goalies is getting injured, but again, I just don't want to jinx anybody. So,
yeah.
You caught the hint.
Yeah. I mean, somebody would have to get injured for Rodrigue to come up, but both of which, if Rodrigue plays 10 games, something's wrong with Skinner, right, as well. So we'll see what happens there. All right, guys, we're over time. It was a good show. We've got lots of predictions. We won't know for another 70 games or so how many of the initial ones are good or bad. Some of probably the biggest ones, if I go back to tonight, Sabres in the playoffs for Dash in the East, Washington for Josh in the West, and probably Ottawa for me in the East as well, Washington. So for some pretty, I think, bold predictions in terms of who will make the playoffs in the East on the wild card, like those are three names that are up in the air. In the West, if we look at that, I mean, all of us have Edmonton finishing. Except for we all had Edmonton finishing 3rd in the Pacific. That's a far cry from years past when we've done season previews. So that's changed. A couple of us had Utah making the wild card. So
first time that none of us have picked an Oiler to win the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Of course, Knobloch being fired, that's a pretty big deal if that happens. That'll be big. Dallas to win the Cup, I don't think that's a big stretch. Oilers to win the Cup, that might be a big stretch, Josh, given the start they've had and that. Although, I mean, let's be real. Everybody had them as favorites this year, so maybe that's, not so much of a stretch. Florida to win back-to-back. We all know how hard it is to win one cup. So picking Florida to go back-to-back, that's big. Of course, in the trophies, you and some stranger made fun of me for picking Stone, who everybody's made such a huge deal about for the last however many playoffs. So obviously nobody else has been paying attention but me.
you know why they make such a big deal about him in the playoffs, Michael? Because he doesn't play the regular season.
Yeah, but he's good. That's why they make such a, and he's good after taking a season off. That's the scary part. Where's he this year? Already in points. I think he's up there in points, isn't he?
I think he's probably leading the NHL, but I'm sure that's going to.
Yeah, he's got 18 points already through 9 games. So
yeah, average games played over the last few seasons: 56, 43, 37, 55, 65, 18.
I just don't see him doing the Vegas thing again this year. If he does, then that one's wrong. McKinnon for the Hart and Lindsay. I'd say that's a pretty big one. right?
Yep.
Given that
Yep.
the way Colorado started. Ottinger for Vezina is not really a bit of a stretch. I mean, Dallas has got a good team in front of him. Calder, Michkov, that's good. Makar for the Hart. I think that like Makar to win the Hart, that's probably a pretty big prediction. Certainly a capable player of winning the Hart. If anybody was, I always think he's absolutely one of the top 5 players in the league. Panarin, though, Art Ross and the Richard, that's huge. Yeah, but capable, right?
He's top
yeah.
5 in both last year.
Yeah. I mean, Panarin is capable. There's no doubt. Yeah, like if anybody's capable. In fact, I'd say Panarin's even underrated to some extent because of all the
Get
players
even more
in the
opportunity
league,
this year too. Yeah.
I
pick.
think a bold prediction on my behalf was McDavid winning the Lindsay. But I think, if he comes back and I called him even for 130, certainly if he made 130 after missing however many games he misses in 2 to 3 weeks, then it would be nothing short of extraordinary. Right.
McDavid for the Masters.
Stankoven for Calder. I think it's Stankoven or Michkov. It's going to be one of the two of them.
Yeah.
If Michkov doesn't win the Calder, it's because he's playing in Philly. Right. Like,
Exactly.
and Dallas has had such a great season. I'd say that's the Vezina. Yeah, you and I both had Hellebuck. I don't think that's any big stretch. And then Oilers predictions. Other than Josh, we're all sort of in years past. We've had 2, sometimes 3 or 4 winning, doing 50 goals in a season. Both Dash and I said no 50 goal scorers. Which is huge because if anybody could, Draisaitl's more than capable. In fact, I hesitate to say 0 because I think with McDavid out, Draisaitl will just take over. And
I mean, Eric had 450 goal scorers and 920 goal scorers last year.
Yeah. And we're all pretty close on the 20 goal scorers. I can't, if I'm going to say no 50 goal scorers, the goal scoring's got to come from somewhere. Right. And
or
there's
we just won't be a top 5 team in scoring this year.
Yeah. In which case it's a disaster of a season, which it might be anyway. We're going to find out. 3 bold predictions. Ekholm being the driver. I think that's big. You only had 2. So, one of the big things was Josh can't count to 3. So we got that.
First was so bold, I didn't need another one.
Yeah, Draisaitl for the Richard. I don't know how bold that is. I mean, he's he's been pretty damn close in years past, but it is maybe given the season that we've started, it's bold.
Yeah.
Rodrigue playing 10 games. That's hugely bold. But that's what these are, bold predictions. Picard playing 35 games, I think would be. Again, another something's gone wrong sort of moment with Skinner. I think we should expect Skinner to play at least 50 to 55. So anything over 30 games, I think means something's wrong with Skinner.
I'll amend mine to Rodrigue or Delia, like whoever gets called up.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Somebody. Yeah. And then breakout season. Josh, you got Ekholm. I've got Philp and Dash. You said Podkolzin at the end of it? Is that what you? Yeah. Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah. So all good. I think this is it's going to be a hell of a season. This is the first time we've done the season preview like 10 games in. So you'd hope for a little bit more accuracy. I don't know if we're going to get any more accuracy, but we'll see. And I think if you go through anybody's predictions, Dash is pissed off and he's already gone. So it is. We'll see if he rejoins. Yeah, that's it though. He said, "That's it. I'm done." Dash is done. Yeah. What do you think, Josh? Out of all of those, what's the biggest prediction?
I don't know, man. Like this. So does Dash think? I guess I was going to ask him if he thought Draisaitl was going to win the Richard. Does that mean that he would have to get 50 or more goals, or do
Well,
both those
it's a
predictions
bold
come?
prediction,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah,
So, I mean, boy, I don't know. I'm almost picturing the seasons simming out in my mind the way some of us have them, and it's like I want to see all three of these seasons play out that way, and see what happens. Like I think there's a lot of fun there. The league is very fun to watch overall. There's a lot of great. The parity it's known as being a pretty balanced league for a reason,
yeah.
and I don't think it's because the refs cheat to make it that way. I think the league is just that consistently good across the board for at least the upper echelon of teams that pretty much anything can happen any night, and that's what makes hockey fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been as is the early part of any season. It's been fun to see some of the different storylines that have happened. Colorado, I mean, obviously that was a big deal. I think we put the microscope on Edmonton, but this is not necessarily as bad as everybody's letting it out to be. When you start at 3-0, just like Colorado, or 0-3 rather, it's it can look a lot worse than it truly is. And as I said, in the last 7, it's been 4-2-1. Let's. I just want to go to some of the comments just to talk about what we've got some stranger and Quaddy in the comments. Some
One of the
strangers
funniest things I
said,
saw some stranger say was after we did all our trophy predictions, he wrote, "Vancouver Canucks fans are going to hate you guys."
"Oh yes, yeah." Well,
That was
I
terrific.
mean, is there anybody that Canucks fans like? Yeah, I mean, let's be real here. Yeah. Let's see. Giroux's over the hill, so didn't like my commentary on Giroux. I think I'm gonna. Giroux is such a valuable addition to Ottawa. Like I think like if you underestimate him, in fact, I think Ottawa's talking about like keeping him for like extending him, right? Because of how much value he has to the team. How many points does he have this year so far?
I don't know. Look that up.
I'm gonna check that out right now.
He's so slick and good, and he's
Got
never
11
really.
points in 9 games.
How many points?
11.
11. Jeez,
And
yeah.
he's 60% on the faceoff, although he doesn't take a lot of faceoff. So I don't know. That could be like that could be 3 out of 4, or not 75%. But anyway, that's not a lot of faceoffs, I'm sure. So Giroux, I wouldn't. And then the Stone thing, if he's healthy, I mean, there's no he's the kind of guy that leads the team to the next level. Dash, by the way, lost internet, so he won't be back tonight.
Okay.
We're going to close up. Canucks fans going to hate us. We got that. Yeah, some stranger said Leon will score 50. Skinner got 20. Podkolzin breakout.
That's good.
Who do we got? No one mentioned Brown. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing between this year and last year was we talked a ton about Connor Brown in the season preview last year. Let me ask you this, because we got we're already off the air on Edmonton Sports Talk, but if you're listening live, you're on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. What's your thought on Arvidsson so far? Oh, like we've got 2 new additions we haven't talked about, Arvidsson and Skinner, right?
Yeah.
In years past, we would have had something in terms of the predictions, in terms of what these guys would do. Is there, 1 or 2, or have both of them done what you've expected of them?
Not
What's
really.
your initial thoughts?
Particularly with Arvidsson, I find he's working super hard and he's going to the right areas, but I'm surprised at how weak he seems at times when there's a battle for space. He just seems to be on the ice a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not used to seeing that in him. I don't know what it is about it. I just felt like he would be more of a Zach Hyman, and
Yeah.
he would stay there and win those battles. And somehow he's he just seems to be spending more time laying down than standing up on his skates, honestly.
Yeah,
But he's
Arvidsson had a hell of a game 2 games ago, right? Like that where he had 3 points, best game of the season, 10 games in. But I'm 100% with you. I expected, and keeping in mind that he's coming off some injury and that, right? But like I did expect more from him as well, right? Like why do these players always seem bigger when they're playing against us? You know what
that's
I
the
mean?
thing.
Like,
Yeah,
when
I
I
was
like, that was my vision of Arvidsson as this guy, like, yeah, this Hyman-esque type of player that, um, and I have been a little bit disappointed other than 2 nights ago or a couple games ago, which he had a hell of a game. Like, I won't take
I'm
that away from him.
the way he's playing. If he was just some guy we drafted and he started playing that way, that's pretty. You'd be pretty happy. But I guess I was for my level of excitement when we got him versus what he's put through. That's kind of where my imbalance lies. Maybe I expected too much. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is to me, I don't know that I expected too much. I expected a little bit more, but I also had the Connor Brown thing in my head, right?
Right.
Like it's hard to expect a lot from a guy that's coming back, right? Like that.
Mhm.
Um, and I think we knew that. Skinner, on the other hand, what's your thoughts on Skinner? I mean, maybe I'll give my thoughts. You can respond in kind. Like he's shown moments of being the Jeff Skinner that everybody saw, in Buffalo. Um, but to be fair, and I said this in the group chat before when they signed Skinner, like he's not my favorite player from Buffalo, right? Like he wasn't the guy that I wanted. Um, and he's the one player, like he's a bit of an enigma to me. Like he could end up being he could do so much. And some nights he's really noticeable. But Knobloch doesn't seem to have the trust in him to be, or maybe he's got a lot of trust and thinks he can sort of help prop up a third line, but he just doesn't seem to have the trust in him to pump him up to the first and second line. And so until we see that, I just don't think we're going to see what Skinner really brings to the table.
Yeah, well, he may have to be moved around now, I guess, with McDavid out. But at the same time, I think Skinner's one of those guys who I expect him to learn and feed off of whoever he's around. That's the thing. I don't know. I'm wondering if he can drive things, like you just said. Maybe he can't drive his own line, but I think he can ride the bus just as well as anybody else.
Yeah.
And like if you're gonna if you're looking for someone to play with some of the top players in the league, I think he'd be one of the guys that could handle it and put himself in the right spaces. So I fully expect him to come around and produce more and be more a part of things. But like you said, I just wonder how much you can depend on him without anyone around him. Would he be able to fill holes the way some of the other guys that we got rid of would have been able to? Is he truly a replacement for what went out? I don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a big question. One of the things that's been made, like everybody's talked about, sort of not everybody, but a lot of people talked about when before the season started, is how old the Edmonton Oilers got. I've got my own theory on this, and it's like I don't give a shit. is my theory on it, because people like they take the numbers, like the Oilers are average age older than everybody else. But let's be honest, like a team rises and falls on the top 6, right? And you've got 2 guys in Connor and Leon that are, under 30 still, and hardly above, like, hardly at that age where it really matters, right? And so you can take a full team of players and you can average age them to be the oldest team in the league. But you got to look at the players that produce and the players that really matter on the team, and decide, like, does that age really matter to them? Um, and then you talk again about like speed and that I haven't looked at the Oilers and thought they really lack speed. Like, they're not the fastest team. Obviously when Connor's on the ice, that changes a whole lot. But like Hyman's got pretty good speed. He beat somebody out to the puck the other night. Wasn't it in Columbus where he won the icing battle there, right? And
Yeah.
he can put the Jets on. Connor, we know, can put the Jets on. Draisaitl's probably one of the fastest players in the league, if you ask me. And he reminds me a lot of Mario Lemieux. Like, he didn't seem like he was skating, but he seems to be flying by everybody. Like, when he puts those legs into motion, he's like one or two strides and he's already like beating everybody. And so those are top 6 guys, right? Podkolzin's, got a little bit of speed, like youth and speed, and so did this team really get slower?
I think what you said is quite interesting. Overall, maybe the average age is what it is, but the average age of your core players that you are depending on maybe isn't that high. That's an interesting way of looking at things. As far as speed goes, you adjust your game to what you have. I think the Oilers can fly. Maybe they can't go that fast for 60 minutes every night, but they can certainly have their bursts when they need it. And I think they have the right players to do the tasks that they need to around the speed, so that it's not going to matter. You don't need everybody to be that fast.
Yeah.
You need somebody to win the puck and put it into the space. So I think good teams will be able to adjust to what they have around them and figure out how to play with each other and make it work.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
they can do.
some stranger said something which I also looked into, which is take out Corey Perry and it lowers the average team's age. And I was looking at that. I haven't done the numbers yet, but I mean, everybody can do that. If you take out Corey Perry and Derek Ryan, 39 and 37, and replace those with 2 rookies,
Mhm.
like 22 to 24 years old, you lower your average age by a year, because that's roughly 20 years difference, right? So, well, actually, maybe close to 2 years, and that's enough. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure the average age in the NHL is like, when you take the oldest team is like roughly 2 years older than the median,
Right. Okay.
and so having the 2 players that are 39 and 37 on your team, and they're playing a 4th line role, both Derek Ryan and Corey Perry.
Mhm.
Uh, and if you were to replace them with 2 rookies who would not give you anything close to what Corey Perry and Derek Ryan give you,
Yeah.
right? And I'll actually be the first to admit I was wrong about Corey Perry, re-signing Corey Perry. He's been one of our more noticeable players this year.
Yeah. Well, you talk about people that have something to prove. Uh, Geez, and this whole core has been through so much together that other teams they just haven't had the same experiences. There's no other team in history that went through what they went through last year, with being so far down the standings and making such a return and having one of the most historic winning streaks of all time, um, in the same season even, and
Yeah.
just the ups and downs that they've had together. Like, I'm not worried about them finding a way to make themselves contenders. Now, do they find a way to go all the way? I mean, whatever, but obviously we'd like to see it. But there's a lot of good teams out there that deserve to win. But I don't think, like you said, I don't think I'd be worried too much about the speed or the age at this point. I think I see a team there that's they're just not going to go away.
Yeah. Well, here, and before we go, and we're going to wrap this up here pretty quick. By the way, for those of you tuning in, both Josh and I are almost as far east in Canada as you can get. It's closing in on 2 a.m. on our barge here in Atlantic Canada. We're talking Oilers hockey. And also, for those of you that don't know, the Oilers have a strong history out here in Eastern Canada with what was the farm team, the Nova Scotia Oilers, which played in Halifax for a couple of years at the Metro Center, which is now Scotiabank, and then moved to Cape Breton, where they won a Calder Cup in the AHL. Players that played in Atlantic Canada for the Oilers farm team include some names that everybody knows, like Louis DeBrusque and Grant Fear played, I believe, a game out here, as did Bookberger. Just some really great sort of Oilers history, and once in a while you run into some folks who are hardcore Oilers fans. Some stranger says, "What's the average age of this podcast?" Right about now, it feels like it's 80. It's getting late. So anyway, just talk about that a little bit. So here's the thing that I want to talk about, which is this is Oilers fans, right? Like we sit there, we go 0-3 to start the season, and then we go 4-1-1 in the next 6 games. And yeah, we're not scoring, but I thought that a lot of those games we looked really good. Dash was talking about that Dallas game because he loves Dallas right now, so he gets fixated on this. But Edmonton came out. He said that's the game Dallas plays. No, it isn't. That's bullshit, because like Dallas doesn't want to come out slow and let a team get off like 20, good shots. Like no team wants to play that way. Edmonton dominated that game from the start.
Yeah.
They didn't get the result, right? They didn't get the result. You can't tell me that's what Dallas wanted. I thought Edmonton, that was one of the best games Edmonton's played this season. And they just didn't get, things didn't happen their way. And that's been kind of the season. You look at the PDO for the Oilers, it's crazy. The Oilers, this happened in the early part of last season too. If you recall, the Oilers PDO was way off the charts, right? Like they lead right now in PDO for and against on the wrong side, right? And so we know that's going to revert, right? Some stranger says they look surprisingly fast in that Dallas game. They did. They came out like that's a team that knows, what they need to do. I felt like that's a team that says, "Hey, but it also shows a little bit of like the Oilers' weakness, and maybe this from a leadership perspective, is that you got to bring that game to every team you play, right? You got to bring that game to a Columbus game. You got to bring that game to whatever." But all of this to say is, I think the Oilers, like, we got to take this in 2 parts of this season. We got the 0-3 start of the season where nothing was going in, and we had some bad breaks, whether disallowed goals or otherwise. And then we had the 4-1-1 6-game stretch right after, right? Which I think we'd all be happy if we started 4-1-1. Nobody would be complaining. Right. And then we've got 1 loss, and it was a big loss to Columbus, who, by the way, we all had the Islanders sitting somewhere close to a playoff spot this year, and the Blue Jackets out of it. Blue Jackets just beat the Islanders 2-0. Tonight might be the like what Oilers fans need to sort of sit back and sort of look and say, okay, maybe things aren't that bad. Golden Knights lose 6-3 to the Kings. So they let in 6 goals. The Avalanche, who have been on a tear lately, they won 5 straight, and then they lost one the other night, but they lose 5-2 to the Lightning. The Canucks, 6-0, and the game's not over yet, right? To the Devils. So it's like we don't know yet if the Columbus game is a blip or if it's what we can expect from the Oilers. And my gut tells me it's a bit of a blip.
Last year, I remember thinking, when we started off so terribly, and then we went on a winning streak, and it was like, I remember asking people, well, would you have felt better about this? We would end up in the same spot, basically, if it was like 2 wins here, 2 losses there, a win, a loss. Would it have made it feel better? And that's kind of what we're getting here. And I got to say, I kind of feel better about this,
Yeah.
there's something about not being as desperate in moments. I like our chances of going on a long streak, but it's nice that it doesn't have to be 8. It can be 4 and then lose and then go 3 and then lose. Like
Yeah.
that's more manageable.
And that's what you need, right? You need manageable things. Now, Quaddy says low tide, who we all love. He says the team ceiling is high, but the floor is way too low for a cup contender. I have this to say, like, we knew going into the season, or at least most of us knew, that the Oilers defense was going to be a weak spot for this team. Like, there's no, I mean, you had to have been sleeping if you didn't realize that was going to be a weak spot, right? And so the whole point is I don't think at any point would I have said the Oilers were going to win the division.
Right.
I don't think if we had done the season preview before game 1, I would have said the Oilers will win the division. But I do think that they just need to make it to the playoffs in order to be successful. And then watch out. Right? Like, they need to get to the trade deadline in a position where they're buyers, and then watch out. Right? And that's what, and I tell you that most analysts in the league, when they picked the Oilers to win the cup, that's what they had in mind too. Right? And so we should expect these roller coasters, right? Like as a regular course. Nathan's in the chat, said if the Oilers go and beat Nashville and Calgary and are 3-1 on the road trip, it's a successful trip, and nobody cares about the Columbus game. Exactly. Yeah. And losing to Calgary will hurt no matter when it is. Yeah. All right. Josh, any commentary so far about the season before we call it a night?
I've gone from, I remember writing a message to my brother early in the season saying I don't know how October regular season games I'm going to watch. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I can't watch the Oilers D anymore, and I'll just wait till November or later and see how it goes when they settle in. But I have watched. I've watched a fair number of the games. I haven't watched every single one, but like you said, I feel a lot better this year. Even though I don't have, it's almost like I don't have as much faith in the roster, but I feel better about where we're headed. It's kind of funny that way. Like, I just feel a little less stressed on a regular basis.
Here, I'll submit this to you: is that when I look at this team and I think about Arvidsson and I think about Skinner, and the Oilers came out of the the free agent signings with those guys, I was super excited. Then the year came and then we lose Holloway and we lose Broberg, right? And everybody's freaking out. In fact, Quaddy says in the chat, management weakened the team substantially this offseason. I have a bit of a challenge with that. Like, I think, defensively, it's a little weaker. I think people underestimated the value CC had on the team in terms of defense. And seeing him go, I think, hurt more than seeing Broberg go. People look at, they'll talk about Broberg and Holloway and the sort of early success they'll have in St. Louis. And I'll tell you that, to me, that's a smokescreen. That's happening because these guys are excited. They want to prove themselves. They're on a team that isn't expected to go anywhere. And I don't expect to go anywhere. I don't expect St. Louis to go anywhere. Guys have record seasons on teams that don't go anywhere often enough, right? Because, somebody's got to score some points, right? That doesn't mean that Broberg was the answer to all of our prayers on defense in Edmonton. If he was in Edmonton, he's not going to get the same minutes that he's getting in St. Louis or the same, things. That's not to say Broberg's not a good player. I wouldn't, he's a good player. Was he worth that to Edmonton? Not a chance in hell, right? And so, oh boy. Maybe Dash has put the word out on my internet. It's about the stuff that's going off. There goes the background. There goes everything. But anyway, at the end of the day, like I like the way this team is on offense. Like I think once they get it together, and once McDavid's fully healthy, once pucks start going in the net again, right?
Yeah.
People are they're gonna forget about this pretty quick, and they're gonna say, "Oh wow, you guys put together a really good offensive team." And then if hopefully. And I've heard the same. Some stranger says he's hearing Bowman's working hard to get a top 4D. I actually thought we might get Benning. He went to Toronto today. I thought maybe there might be some chance. There was word. I think Friedman was talking about him being available. And I thought, maybe there's something they could have swung to get Benning back in the lineup. That would have been maybe a little bit more solid than having Emberson and Dermott and Stetcher, on that side. But the defense has actually done all right, given what I expected from them. So
Yeah,
that's
that's been
what I
good.
gotta say.
They just need to get their swagger back. That's it.
Yeah.
Give this team a little bit of mojo, and they'll be fine.
And Emerson, let's not forget, has never played a full season. Like he's pretty much a rookie, right? We're
Yeah.
asking a lot of a rookie player on a team that just went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Like some stranger says, they're playing with no pressure. I assume he's talking about Broberg and Holloway. Emberson's got a lot of pressure on him. He's got to replace Broberg and CC, right? Like he's the guy that all the eyes were on him, right? And he's starting to settle in now, I think.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We're off the air on Edmonton Sports Talk right now. We're only on there for 90 minutes, starting Wednesdays 9 p.m. Again, thanks to Dustin Nielsen, Matt Iwanek, Lieutenant Eric, the whole gang there, Tom Gazzola. They're doing great work there. Thanks to you, Josh, for joining us for what I guess is our 4th season preview. I didn't realize that. Yeah, let's. I guess somebody has to unseat Dash. So yeah.
I enjoyed myself a lot. This is good.
Yeah, it was good. I think a lot of our picks were pretty close to the same this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's it. We've got big game in Nashville tomorrow. Quick prediction.
The only thing that worries me is that Nashville is so desperate for wins themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And they're just starting to figure things out too. But the Oilers have had a lot of success there, and I think they'll figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
I think the Oilers are going to win.
Yamo was on waivers the other day. I jokingly said we should have picked him up and got the dry line back. It seemed pretty good. Like a good time to do that. Yeah. Anyway, I think Draisaitl's like he's like Malkin, right? Like when Crosby's gone, like he picks up his game. And not that Draisaitl needs to pick up his game. If he wasn't playing in Edmonton, everybody would talk about him more. Even like they talk about him lots now, but in the shadow of Connor McDavid, there are nights where I think Draisaitl's the best player, and people are still talking about Connor McDavid. And I don't get it, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that happens more often than not. Yeah. So we'll see. Some strangers picking Nashville. Soros won't lose again, he says.
Ever?
Ever. Not ever. All right. Okay, that's it for the night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Josh, I'm going to give you the last word. You know how it works. When you're done, just say good night, and I'll hit the end, and we'll be back here next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Mountain. Thanks again. Oh, and better talk about the Heavy Hockey Showdown, March 15th, booked for Edmonton in support of the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. Keep watching for news about that. Pretty excited. That's all for announcements on that side. Get to heavyhockey.com, hit like and subscribe on YouTube if you're there. And also subscribe to our friends at Edmonton Sports Talk on iHeartRadio or TuneIn. And they've got a lot of great content there too. You, Josh, get the last word. And don't forget to say goodnight. So I know the cue. All right, you're up.
Well, I've never been one to hit the panic button on the Oilers, and I'm not about to start now. But it's just I've never looked more forward to a season in a while for things that have nothing to do with the Oilers. I don't know why. I'm in this mood where I'm just really looking forward to the way this regular season is going to play out, and hopefully the Oilers are a big part of that. The only other thing I'd like to say is they're back. They're back, boys. This is a great show. Tune in every week. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Subscribe, visit heavyhockey.com. Good night.
Oilerslive.